was a cold and silent Christmas Eve in the small town of Ravenswood. Snowflakes danced through the air, covering the quaint houses and streets in a pristine blanket of white. Tony, a middle-aged man with a troubled past, wandered the deserted streets, his breath visible in the frigid air. Tony had returned to Ravenswood after many years away, hoping to find solace and redemption during the holiday season. The townspeople welcomed him back with wary glances, remembering the dark cloud that had hung over him in the past. Tony's troubled history was well known, a tale of regrets and mistakes that he couldn't escape. As Tony passed by familiar houses, memories of his youth flooded back. But there was one place that haunted him more than any other, the old abandoned mansion on the outskirts of town. The mansion had been vacant for as long as anyone could remember, and rumors circulated about its eerie past. Some said it was cursed, while others whispered about strange occurrences on Christmas Eve. Tony couldn't resist the pull of the mansion's looming silhouette against the winter night. With each step, his unease grew, but a strange compulsion drove him forward. He reached the creaking gate, the hinges protesting as he pushed it open. The wind howled through the skeletal trees surrounding the mansion, creating an unsettling symphony. The front door groaned as Tony pushed it open, revealing a grand foyer covered in dust and cobwebs. The air was heavy with a sense of foreboding, but Tony pressed on. As he explored the darkened halls, shadows seemed to dance at the edges of his vision, and strange whispers echoed through the empty rooms. In the heart of the mansion, Tony discovered a room that seemed frozen in time. A dilapidated Christmas tree stood in the corner, its once vibrant decorations now faded and tattered. A musty scent filled the air, as if the room held the memories of countless holiday seasons gone by. Tony couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched, and the temperature in the room seemed to drop with every passing moment. Just as Tony was about to leave, he heard a soft voice calling his name. "Tony," it whispered, sending shivers down his spine. He turned, but the room was empty. The voice persisted, growing louder and more insistent. It seemed to be leading him deeper into the mansion, into the heart of its secrets. Driven by a mix of curiosity and fear, Tony followed the haunting voice through twisting corridors and up a grand staircase. The mansion seemed to come alive with unseen forces, and the air became charged with an otherworldly energy. The voice led him to a door at the end of a dimly lit hallway. As Tony opened the door, he was met with a room bathed in an eerie, flickering light. Candles lined the walls, casting unsettling shadows that danced along the floor. In the center of the room stood a figure, draped in a tattered cloak. The figure turned slowly to reveal a face obscured by shadows. "Tony," the figure spoke, its voice a haunting melody. "You have returned." Tony, overcome with a mixture of fear and fascination, stammered, "Who are you? What do you want from me?" The figure beckoned him closer, and as Tony approached, he noticed the room was adorned with old photographs, moments from his own past, frozen in time. The figure pointed to a particular photo, depicting a joyful Christmas gathering long ago. "Remember, Tony," the figure whispered. "Remember the choices you made, the lives you touched." As Tony gazed at the photographs, he relived the moments that had shaped his life. Moments of joy, love, and heartbreaking decisions. The figure revealed itself to be a spectral guide, tasked with helping Tony confront the ghosts of his past. With each memory, Tony felt a weight lifted from his shoulders, but the air around him grew colder. The spectral guide spoke again. "Redemption comes at a cost, Tony. To truly find peace, you must face the consequences of your actions." The room darkened, and Tony found himself standing in a familiar location, the town square on a snowy Christmas Eve years ago. He witnessed the ripple effect of his choices, the pain he had caused, and the opportunities he had missed. The haunting voice guided him through the labyrinth of his past, forcing him to confront the ghosts that had long haunted him. As Tony relived the pivotal moments of his life, the spectral guide revealed the true purpose of this Christmas Eve journey. A chance for Tony to make amends, to right the wrongs that had haunted him for so long. The journey through his past was a harrowing one, filled with remorse and redemption. The spectral guide remained a silent companion, pushing Tony to face the darkness within himself. As the clock struck midnight, the mansion seemed to exhale a collective sigh, and the flickering candles in the room burned brighter. Tony stood in the center of the room, changed by the journey through his past. The spectral guide spoke one final time. "The choice is yours, Tony. Redemption is within reach, but you must seize it." The room began to fade, and Tony found himself back in the cold, empty mansion. The haunting voice lingered in the air as he made his way to the exit. The town of Ravenswood awaited him, the snow-covered streets now bathed in the soft glow of Christmas lights. As Tony stepped outside, he felt a sense of renewal. The weight of his past had lifted, and the town that once regarded him with suspicion now saw a changed man. The spectral guide had given him a second chance, a chance to rewrite his story. The once silent streets now echoed with the joyful sounds of Christmas carols and laughter. Tony walked into the night, guided by the soft glow of streetlights and the warmth of newfound redemption. The past was behind him, and the future, uncertain yet hopeful, stretched out before him. As Tony walked through the snow-covered streets, he couldn't help but marvel at the transformation that had taken place within him. The townspeople, who had once regarded him with suspicion, now exchanged warm smiles and greetings. The air was filled with the scent of pine and the distant sound of carolers spreading holiday cheer. As he passed by the familiar houses, Tony felt a sense of connection with the community he had once been estranged from. He decided to visit the town's small church, where the soft glow of candlelight spilled out into the snowy night. The doors opened with a creak, and Tony stepped into the warmth of the cozy interior. Inside, the church was adorned with festive decorations, and the choir sang hymns that echoed through the sacred space. Tony found a quiet pew and took a moment to reflect on the journey he had just experienced. The haunting voice, the spectral guide, and the memories from his past all played in his mind like a bittersweet melody. During the church service, Tony couldn't shake the feeling that something greater than himself had orchestrated the events of that fateful Christmas Eve. He realized that he had been given a rare opportunity to rewrite the narrative of his life, to mend broken relationships, and to embrace the spirit of forgiveness. As the church bells rang in the new day, Tony emerged from the church with a newfound purpose. He made his way through the snow-covered streets, stopping at houses to extend heartfelt apologies and offer gestures of goodwill. The people of Ravenswood, initially cautious, began to see the genuine change in Tony, and forgiveness blossomed where once there had been resentment. The climax of Tony's journey unfolded when he reached the house of an elderly couple, the Allens, who had been deeply affected by his past actions. Tony knocked on their door, and when it opened, he was met with tearful eyes and hesitant smiles. With sincerity in his voice, he apologized for the pain he had caused and expressed his genuine remorse. The Allens, moved by Tony's transformation, embraced him with forgiveness. The weight of guilt and shame that had burdened Tony for so long lifted completely, and in its place, a sense of peace settled over him. The town, once divided by Tony's past, now stood united in the spirit of forgiveness and redemption. As Christmas Day dawned, Tony found himself surrounded by newfound friends and a community that had embraced him once more. The town square, once a place of whispered gossip, now echoed with laughter and joy. The abandoned mansion, which had been a symbol of Tony's haunted past, stood silent and still, its secrets buried beneath layers of snow. In the glow of Christmas morning, Tony realized that redemption was not just a personal journey, it was a gift that could be shared with others. The once turbulent chapter of his life had come to a close, and a new one, filled with hope and possibility, had begun. Nate couldn't shake the feeling that something was off as he strolled through the festively decorated streets of his small town. Christmas lights adorned every building, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of pine from the neatly decorated trees lining the sidewalks. However, there was an eerie chill that sent shivers down Nate's spine. The townsfolk seemed oblivious to the ominous atmosphere, immersed in the holiday cheer that enveloped the town. Nate, however, couldn't ignore the unsettling sensation that clung to him. As he passed by familiar faces, he noticed a peculiar glint in their eyes, a glimmer that hinted at hidden secrets. The day took an even stranger turn when Nate received an old, dusty Christmas card in the mail. The sender's name was faded, and the postmark seemed to come from a time long forgotten. Inside the card was a cryptic message that sent shudders down Nate's spine. "The ghost of Christmas past is watching." Haunted by this mysterious message, Nate decided to delve into the town's history, searching for any connection between the peculiar atmosphere and his own past. As he visited the local library, he uncovered a forgotten tale of a Christmas Eve decades ago, a night when a series of unexplained disappearances had cast a dark shadow over the town. The more Nate dug, the more he realized that the ghostly occurrences from the past might be resurfacing in the present. Whispers of eerie laughter echoed in his ears as he uncovered old newspaper clippings detailing the mysterious vanishings. The names of the missing townsfolk matched those of people Nate had known since childhood. Determined to unravel the mystery, Nate confronted the town's elders, who reluctantly admitted to a long-forgotten pact made to protect the town. The ghost of Christmas past, they explained, was a vengeful spirit that emerged every few decades, claiming the souls of those who harbored secrets or wronged others. Fear gripped Nate's heart as he realized the gravity of the situation. The town's elders urged him to confess his sins, to reveal any hidden truths that might save him from the impending doom. Nate, however, was uncertain of what sins he might have committed that warranted the attention of the vengeful spirit. As Christmas Eve approached, the atmosphere in the town grew more oppressive. Nate noticed shadows lurking in corners, and the air was thick with anticipation. He delved deeper into the town's history, seeking answers to his connection with the ghost of Christmas past. A mysterious woman, draped in a tattered cloak, appeared on Nate's doorstep one night. Her eyes held an otherworldly wisdom, and her voice was a haunting melody as she revealed herself to be a medium, a conduit between the living and the dead. She warned Nate that time was running out and that he needed to confront his past before the ghost of Christmas past claimed him. Nate embarked on a desperate journey to uncover buried secrets. He confronted childhood friends, family members, and even revisited places that held memories he had long forgotten. Each revelation brought him closer to the truth, but the town's ominous atmosphere intensified. As the clock struck midnight on Christmas Eve, Nate found himself standing in the town square, surrounded by the spectral figures of those who had vanished in the past. The ghost of Christmas past materialized before him, a shadowy figure with hollow eyes that bore into Nate's soul. In a chilling whisper, the ghost recounted Nate's forgotten transgressions and the pain he had caused others. Nate, now desperate for redemption, confessed to his sins, bearing his soul in the hope of salvation. The town square was silent as the ghost considered his plea. Suddenly, a blinding light enveloped the square, and the spirits faded away. The mysterious woman, the medium, emerged from the light, revealing herself as the town's long-lost protector. She explained that Nate's sincere confession had broken the curse, freeing the town from the ghost of Christmas past. As the first rays of dawn illuminated the town, Nate felt a weight lifted from his shoulders. The once oppressive atmosphere dissipated, and the townsfolk awoke with no memory of the haunting events that transpired. Christmas morning arrived with a sense of renewal, but Nate couldn't shake the knowledge that the past, once concealed, could never truly be forgotten.